Welcome to our class today. You are here with me, Madam Mugalo, and I believe that you are well. And today I'll be continuing on with my series about systematic theology. So this is lecture 2, and I hope that you'll be able to gain more knowledge regarding what I'll be discussing in my lesson today. So today I've decided I'll be looking at God the Father as an aspect under systematic theology, where we are looking at the doctrine of God the Father. Remember that during our last lecture, we were looking at the definition of theology. We looked at different types of theology, among us other things. And I believe that you'll refer to that lecture if you are not able to watch it or do not get the chance to do so. Just go in my videos and you'll get it. So moving forward, by the end of this presentation, I'll be able to give you the introduction to this topic and also give you the objectives and the main content, which is about various beliefs about God and the proofs of God's existence. Also, we look at the attributes of God when we are looking at the doctrine of God the Father. Having said that, we are going through straight to the first part, that is the introduction part of this presentation. And when we are looking at this part, we say that since theology is an interpretative analysis of the revelation of God, the doctrine of God is the first major doctrine usually discussed under systematic theology. So it is a very important doctrine, and therefore that is why we are starting discussing it as we move forward. So the three aspects of the doctrine of God will be discussed in this presentation, and these doctrines and these various aspects include various beliefs about God, the proof of God, or proof of God's existence, and also we look at the attributes of God. That is the introductory part. And my objective is, by the end of this presentation, you as the learner, you'll be able to state and discuss various beliefs about God, explain the proof about the existence of God, and then enumerate the perfections, incommunicable and communicable attributes of God. Having said that, you as a learner, you must be able to embrace research, that you should be able to go to the library and do research regarding various things that we are going to discuss here. By presenting this presentation does not mean that you as a learner or a student, you have gained all the knowledge. No. This gives you just a glimpse of what we are supposed to discuss, and therefore you should be able to embrace research, whereby you go to the library, the institution's library. There are various libraries that you can go and do your research. And today things have been made easy, whereby there is computer where you just Google and get more information regarding this. And please, when you are doing your references or when you are doing your research, please can you go and research based on the scholarly articles that are presentable or presented to you. Don't just read anything. You should be scholarly so that you can be able to gain more knowledge regarding what we are discussing. So there are different or various beliefs about God, and the emphatic opening declaration of the Bible implies that there is but one God. So that God is the creator and the father of the universe, and God is part or is apart from the world, that the entire creation depends upon God. This is seen in Genesis 11:1. So this is an affirmation of theism and monotheism, where they say that God is the creator and the father of the universe and is apart from the world, that the entire creation depends upon God. While it is a refutation to these people or the atheism, deism, polytheism, henotheism, pantheism, and panentheism. So Genesis 1:1 is both a declaration of theism and a refutation of deism. As we move forward, we'll be able to understand more about these concepts or these beliefs that we have regarding God. Remember, there are 7 in nature, or 7, and they include the theism, monotheism, atheism, deism, polytheism, henotheism, pantheism, and pantheism and pantheism. So Psalms 14:1, it says that the fool says in his heart there is no God. And this can be interpreted in 2 ways. To say there is no God would mean empathetic denial, that you deny that God does not exist. Also, as a denial of the being of God. Atheism necessarily stands for the denial of the existence of a personal creator and a moral governor. It is also a form of a deism, arguing practically with every action of life that God does not care and will not act. That is according to deism. While deism is etymologically synonymous with the theism, it designates a system admitting the existence of personal creator but denying his controlling presence in the world. So it admits that there is a creator, but they refute the claim that he's controlling. So his immediate moral government and all supernatural interventions and revelations are not there. That is according to deism. The assertion that there is but one God also affirms monotheism and refutes polytheism and henotheism. An important idea of God in Judeo-Christian tradition is monotheism. They study that there is but one supreme being who is personal and moral and seeks a total and unqualified response from human creatures. So the Bible emphasizes repeatedly that God, who is revealed as the creator, is not an additional one to be believed and worshipped along other gods or divinities. When I'm saying gods, I'm using the small g, gods. You can get more information regarding this in these books that I've referred you to. And I told you that in this course, the main content or the main reference is the Bible. Therefore, the verses will be there as references so that you can gain more scope regarding that. So Genesis 1:1 does not accommodate polytheism, which distributes the perfectionist or the functions of the infinite God among many limited gods. So while polytheism is common among ancient people, it has been observed by this scholar that it reaches its classic expression west in ancient Greece and Rome. That there is a multitude of personal gods, each ruling a different department of life, where you see that there is a God of who is concerned about rain, God of sun, God of fertility, among others. So very close to polytheism is henotheism, which believes that there are many gods, but holding one to be superior, and which is generally the god of one's own tribe. That is according to henotheism. So as a doctrine of God, pantheism is absolute monism, maintained in that the entire phenomenal universe is the ever changing existence form of one single universal God. So thus God is all and all is God. So this is excessive in nature, where we identify God as all, denying several essential aspects of God's character. So if the whole universe is God, then God has no distinct personality. God is no longer unchanging because as the universe changes, God also changes. That is according to that view. So Gruden, remember, he wrote a book regarding systematic theology. Gruden notes that God does not have identity and human personalities have no individual distinctiveness. Thus, pantheism negates the personal identity of God and also all that of human beings as well. That is according to Gruden. Pantheism is very is closely related to pantheism. It is the view that all things exist ultimately in God. The evaluation of pantheism is offered by Gruden applies to pantheism as well. So the Bible teaches that God is distinct from his creation. He is part of it, for he has made it and rules over it. So the term often used to say that God is much greater than creation is a word transcendent. So very simply, this means that God is far above the creation in the sense that he is greater than the creation and he is independent of the same. If you have any question regarding what we are discussing or whichever question you have, please can you go to the comment section and do so. And please remember to subscribe to this channel as we move forward. Remember, we are only giving educational resources, and therefore it means that as a scholar, there are different views from different scholars, and it means that the content has been polished to this extent. If there is any concern, kindly notify me in the comment section. Thank you very much. So we are moving on to the next section, that is the proof of God's existence. Whatever is known about God is known as the basis of his self-revelation. So the Bible merely points to the unquestionable reality of God and does not attempt to offer rational proof of God or existence of God. So the major traditional philosophical and theological proofs of the existence of God are four, and I'll be discussing them as we move forward. I've said that there are four which explain about the proof of God's existence, and those include the moral, teleological, cosmological, and even ontological arguments which said or say more about the existence of God. So we start with the first one, that is the ontological argument. The ontological argument was first given by Anselm. So in philosophy, ontology is the study of being, of a being. Not that in traditional, or can you be very keen that in traditional theology, God is described as a supreme being, the source of all other beings like human beings. God is therefore defined as a being, greater than which nothing can be imagined. So God is thus the most perfect being existing in reality and in mind. That is according to Anselm regarding ontological argument, that God is the being, a being, and that being is very perfect in nature and in mind. So it proves that God exists. There is the cosmological argument. Cosmological argument is related or associated with Thomas Aquinas, and the argument states that the whole world or universe was caused. That the reasoning is that every event in the world has a cause, so which will also have a cause that should be traced for a first time. So consequently, the universe as an event must also have its cause. That is according to cosmological argument. So God is the cause. This means that theologically the existence of the world is accounted for by a supreme being, and that supreme being is God. I believe we are together. There is another argument about the proof of existence of God is theological argument, and theological argument dates back to the ancient time, and we see here a scholar, Pale William. The word teleological is derived from telos, which means end or goal or purpose. So the argument is that the evidence of design, purpose, and order is seen in the universe, and it shows that there is a peculiar or special designer who was here. And since the existence of that watch is accounted for by an intelligent watchmaker, then it means that there was a purposeful God who did his work orderly and purposefully regarding, I think, creation and everything that pertains to it. So here we have a teleological argument, not theological argument. Sorry for that. There is the last one, the moral argument, and this is an argument which is linked to Immanuel Kant, and the contention is that the existence of objective moral values like senses of right, wrong, and justice implies the existence of a transcendent ground of values. So God is therefore the source of human moral values. That is according to moral argument. Attributes of God. The attributes of God. I believe that in the course of your education regarding Christian religious education, you have come across this term, that is the attributes of God, and I believe you have some, especially in secondary school, yeah, in theory, where in Form 1, yes, yes, there is some attributes of God listed there, and today let us just mention some of them so that you can just remind yourself, also get knowledge regarding that. So in many instances in the Bible, the glory of God conveys the visible manifestation of the being, presence, and power of God. And it is seen in these scriptures that I've noted here. So the glory of God speaks of the transcendence God. This means that God's being, existence, power, and manifestation transcend that of creation. So God is above and greater than the universe. The covenant name of God in the Old Testament is Yahweh or Jehovah, and it is usually translated as the Lord in Exodus 3:13 to 15. So we see here a God, the God being powerful, being transcendent, a God who is very powerful, glorious in nature. One very particular or popular biblical definition of God is love. God is love. The love of God in his sacrificial goodness, mercy, kindness, and grace towards the unworthy is very evident. So the death of God for the redemption of humankind is the supreme manifestation of the love of God. This is seen in 1 John chapter 4, verse 9 to 10. God is perfect in holiness, and you cannot separate him from that. He's very different, he's very peculiar. Therefore, God is separate from all other beings, is perfect. So, as stated in the vision of both Isaiah and John, the holiness of God is very close to the glory of God. So, that is why I say that God is glorious, perfect in nature, is very kind, loving, full of mercy, among us other attributes. So when we are talking about the attributes of God, we are just referring to what we can see or say regarding God that show us that he is very peculiar. There are incommunicable attributes of God, and are the perfections that God does not share with any other God. For example, self-existence, infinity, among others. So the self-existence of God means the existence of God depends on God himself and no other source. Another one is immutability, that is, the God does not change in his being, purpose, or promise. God is trustworthy, is infinite in nature, and when we are talking about infinite in nature, we say that we are talking about his eternal and immense, him being immense. God is free from all a limitation of space and time. So the unity of God refers to his holiness and uniqueness. And please, can you refer to the different scriptures that I've given you there so that you can see those attributes in the Bible? Having said that, regarding incommunicable attributes, there are also communicable attributes. The communicable attributes of God speak of the character of God that they may reflect in other beings. So this includes spirituality, intellectuality, and even morality. So when we are talking about spirituality, we mean that God is a spirit. And when we are talking about intellectuality, we are talking about him having wisdom, having knowledge beyond measure. Also, morality is an umbrella term that combines the attributes of goodness, grace, and mercy. And this is seen in various verses that I have given to you here. So, in general, you can say those are the attributes of God, and also there are so many. It means that you have a chance to go and do research and see more and more of those attributes. Talking of research, I've given you some references which you can refer to as you gain more knowledge regarding God the Father, and this will help you so much in understanding this concept. And I believe that you'll be able to answer the questions that I've listed there in the objectives section. Thank you very much for your time. I believe I'll see you next time, God willing, and best of luck.